Yes, here we go, you guys. Balls deep breakdown, the very first of the week. I didn't do any last week because of Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl, and because of kind of just an okay card. And we're here again with kind of just an okay card from top to bottom, but some really good fights that are at the top of this card. And I can't wait to break down this one in particular with you guys. Arman Tsarukyan squaring off against Joel Alvarez here at UFC Vegas 49 this Saturday, February 26th, I believe. This is going to be an absolute barn burner. We've got two white hot prospects right now, definitely both on the way up. We just had Alvarez crack the 15, top 15, and we've already seen Tsarukyan do that as well. So we've definitely got some big fights coming up for these guys, and these guys squaring off at this particular event for UFC Vegas 49 is going to be a fantastic matchup. We've got a bunch of you guys already with me here in the chat, my man. And let's say hello to everybody who is spending their Monday evening with their Uncle Weezy. First and foremost, here we got Mark Schillingberg in the room saying, "Oi, late night with your boy Smooth Jimmy," also featuring Uncle Weezy. Let's go balls deep. Let's go balls deep on all the stats for this matchup, man, because it is such a good one. And JSJ saying, "Keep the tranquilizers and straitjackets ready, Weezy. This card has 1-800 gambler spots all over it. Love this fight, though, and I couldn't agree with you more, and I said that much right here. It absolutely is littered with these 1-800 gambler spots. So we've got to pick our spots wisely. We don't want to be too invested in this card because, man, we've got a fantastic pay-per-view card coming up next weekend, which will be headlined by the grudge match between Colby Chaos Covington and Jorge Masvidal. Can't wait for that one. We can just keep our powder dry this week if we don't have a bunch of spots that are sticking out. But we got to break down this fight in particular, you guys, because in my opinion, it's the second best fight on this card. And I mean, that's saying a lot with a couple of the other ones that we do have on here, like Fares Ziam versus Terrence McKinney is going to be a barn burner. And we got Serkinov against Turman, which will be really good. There's a lot of really good ones here. So we're going to pick our spots for sure. Sean V saying, "Let's go. Alvarez going to dupe everyone on DK into playing him at 7,100. He's going to lose." Well, we're going to get into all the stats and we're going to figure out what I'm thinking here, what you guys are thinking, because this is the most probably, besides maybe the Hannah Goldie Jin Yu Fry fight this week, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most hotly contested fight on Twitter. There's a lot of people willing to live and die, with their boy Joel Alvarez here because he's been so hot lately and he's a big underdog. So getting, Joel Alvarez earlier in the week at like plus 250, a lot of people did. They got to be pretty fired up about getting a fighter that good at that particular price. So, and then you got the Tsarukyan money came in quick, but now the Alvarez money's coming in. We got to figure out which way we're going to go. Arman Guillotine Tsarukyan says Nandalal Razaya. Lou Betya saying way too many people on Alvarez on the interweb. Yeah, there's a lot of people on Alvarez. And good evening, says Mr. Lou Betya. Yeah, there's a lot of people on both sides of this one. And I've seen a lot of cappers that I respect on both sides. So we're going to break it down here and we're going to see which one I'm on, you guys. But my guy Lou Betya, always check him out on First Round Finish with my guy Monk on Fridays. That is at 5 o'clock Central Time that they do that show. Always a great one. And my guy Hammer and Hog in the room for a minute here now. Always one of the original fans of the show back in the day. Bro, first time in a while I can catch you live. Let's cash. Good to see you in here, brother. We got Daz File saying, "Hey, Lou, Weezy," in chat. Lou saying, "Hey, what's up, Daz?" We got my guy F. Carrillo in the room saying, "Hello, Unk." Oi! Yes. We got to love it, man. Let's go. Wake up, Unk. Let's have this show on the road. I have a 53-mile commute to work at 6 a.m. Central Time. My God, you are a gangster for even still being up. So let's get this show on the road. We got Robert, new name, saying we be balling. Yes. And we got my guy, F. Carrillo, supporting the show so generously like he always does. You guys, ring a ding ding. We got a donation Thank you so much, F. Carrillo. You were donating last night on Stat Diggers. You donated on the show in the past, man. It's guys like you who support the show that really make it all worthwhile, man. And I truly appreciate you. Let's have a great show tonight, and let's get you out of here so that we can get this guy to his appointment at 6 a.m. Central Time. I didn't even know there was a 6 o'clock in the a.m. these days. I'm staying up so late, man. It's crazy. So shout out to everybody that wakes up early in the morning because your Uncle Weezy will be sleeping. Who bet you says Alvarez versus Arman will be a banger. It just needs more Johnny Parsons. It needs much less Johnny Parsons in order for it to be a high-level fight. I mean, Johnny Parsons can be in some bangers, but not high-level bangers, that's for sure, man. And War Dog saying, "Oi, can't stay long, but wanted to show my support. Keep up the solid work, Unc. I appreciate you, War Dog. Thanks for stopping by, man." We got DFS by the numbers saying, "Oh, yeah." We got F. Carrillo saying thank you, and I thank you, F. Carrillo. We got my guy Nick Alexander in the room. We got Alex Ramirez and Nick taking notes. We got Lou Betya said it's called the happy hour. It was first round finish the first time. It was happy hour after that. My bad, man. And it will be on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. Thank you. Well, we'll be keeping an eye out for that MMA Engine YouTube channel because yours truly, Uncle Weezy, will also be on that channel every single week, bringing you some new programming, which you will be having to stay tuned for because we will be letting you know all about it. Keep an eye out for MMAengine.com. And Paul Brassfield saying, "Oi, did I make it?" Yes, you did, Paul. And we got Blood Money MMA bets in the room. Dude, this guy does some great content on YouTube. Go out there and check it out. Thanks for supporting Blood Money. And we got my guy Jarno Portilla all the way from beautiful Finland saying, "Weezy, I've made profit in the last 5 events. I'm up 22 units so far in the UFC. I've been having why can't I scroll down on this? All right. I don't know why it won't let me scroll down anymore and I can't read this, but shit. I'm going to have to move this to my other screen so I can read it. And then you guys can see my StreamYard on my screen. 22 units so far in the UFC as Jarno. I've been having a blast. Big thanks to you and others who do these videos, Jarno. Thank you so much for the support, my man. It is much appreciated. And it's guys like you, like I say, man, supporting the show. A €5 donation, it means so much. Thank you, guys. But you know what? I do have to get to it because my guy, F. Carrillo, has got to wake up at the crack of dawn. So we got to get down to business, everybody. Thank you for everybody that's hanging out. Thank you for everybody that supported the show, that subscribed to the channel, that's big up the videos. I appreciate each and every one of you. My guy, Smooth Jimmy, appreciates each and every one of you. And let's see if I can share this screen right now with you guys and see if we can see my guy Smooth Jimmy here ready to pick some fights like he always does. And it appears that he is ready to go. Let's do it. All right. We are going to start like we always do on Balls Deep Breakdown, you guys, with the tail of the tape here. And we've got a couple of young prospects here. 28 years old for Joel Alvarez and Arman Tsarukyan, only 25 years old, you guys. But this is what we've been talking about with Joel Alvarez for a very long time, is how huge he is for this lightweight division, how tough of a time he's had making weight recently. And here he is at 6'3". The tallest middleweight, you guys, is 6'4". That's Joseph Holmes. This guy's a 6'3" lightweight. So he is absolutely huge for the division. And, you know, when people say he's had weight cutting issues, you know, he just might just be flat out too big to make this weight, you know, period. But supposedly he's on weight. He's already been working with his diet and getting into shape to get this weight cut to where he can make it. And evidently, hopefully, we will see him make weight this time. So he has been a bit of a weight bully and a size bully in this division here, you guys. But that's what you have to deal with when you have people who can cut weight effectively. They can be huge on fight day. And both of these guys are orthodox fighters. Arman Tsarukyan training out of Tiger Muay Thai back in the day. He also did some training at American Top Team for his last fight. but I have heard that he has been training back home in Europe due to visa problems. So he has not been at Tiger or at ATT. So I'm not exactly sure where he's been for this particular camp, you guys. If you guys know, you can let me know. I've got Joel Alvarez at Bandog Fight Club, but I haven't seen anything updated on that recently either. But obviously a huge, huge size and tail of the tape advantage here for Joel Alvarez. We've got a little bit of a pro experience advantage here, as Joel's been doing this for about 2 years longer, and he's got 2 more professional fights, but it's actually Tsarukyan with 17 more minutes in the pro cage. And both of these guys have 5 UFC fights. It's just that 4 of Tsarukyan's 5 fights have went the distance, while Joel Alvarez's fights have finished inside the distance 4 of 5 times. So 5 of 10 of these guys' combined fights have finished inside the distance. However, it is going to be Alvarez, who's got an 80% finish rate for and against, and Tsarukyan, who's only got a 20% finish rate for and against. So Alvarez's fights have been finishing at a much higher frequency, you guys, in the UFC than Tsarukyan's, and we can see that in the average fight time here, 12.43 minutes for Tsarukyan and 6.16 minutes for Alvarez. So Alvarez, huge size advantage here, and the experience advantage is pretty much null and void, as I would say these guys are on the same page in terms of having the same amount of UFC fights, at least 6 years as a pro, and right around 20 pro fights apiece. When we look at the finish stats, this is where we see a little bit of a difference between these guys. Joel Alvarez, in his 19 professional wins, you guys, this is 19 wins. He has a 100% finish rate, 84% by submission and 16% by knockout. So that's 3 knockouts and 16 career wins by submission. 100% finish rate over 19 wins. Never won a decision in his life. Arman Tsarukyan, however, has a 64% finish rate. So that would be 11 of his 17 wins have come inside the distance, 6 of them by knockout, 5 of them by submission. So he's an equal opportunity finisher. Arman Tsarukyan is a guy who can knock you out, who can submit you, and who can win a decision. He's very well-rounded. Joel Alvarez has never won a decision in his life. He is a pure finisher. So, this is very important when we see something like this in the finish stats. It can kind of give us an indication which one of these guys might be the better minute winner. Which one of these guys is more likely to win a decision. And if you look at that, it's definitely Tsarukyan, because he uses his wrestling. He wins minutes with his wrestling, and he pressures pretty well on the feet. But, he's also very prone to being pressured on the feet. And then, Alvarez, the value here is, that he does finish fights. He throws really heavy strikes. He tries to frustrate you by using his length to throw big kicks at you, at your head, at your body, frustrate you, force you to take him down, and then he gets you in his guard and he tries to submit you. And he's done that 16 times in his professional career where he's managed to get a submission. Triangles, guillotines, Darce chokes, Bravo chokes. He's all over the place, you guys, but he does amazing submission work from his back. These guys have got 4 combined losses. 2 of them have been finished inside the distance. Tsarukyan has been knocked out once in his career, and Joel Alvarez has been knocked out once in his career. But in both of these guys' UFC losses, they have never been finished. So we will get into the striking stats here right after I catch up with you guys in the chat, see what you're saying. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. And we got F. Carrillo there with the megaphone. We got Blood Money saying this Alvarez versus Arman is going to be bananas. Yeah, dude, it really is. And F. Carrillo saying, wow, Alvarez is freaking huge. Yes, he is absolutely huge. 6'3", 2 straight weight misses in a row. But prior to that, he's always made weight. So he is a big, big lightweight. Alvarez can't make 156, and he'll get finished if he does. Well, we'll see about that, Scott Brown. He's supposedly, there were some guys that were commenting on Stat Diggers last night when Brady and I were doing that show on Pub Sports Radio. And if you haven't seen it yet, the link to that is in the description of this video. And as always, the link to the stats here in the description of the video as well. You guys can follow along as we go through this. But there were some people commenting in there, Scott, saying that Alvarez right now is at 160 pounds and ready to weigh in at 156 and has really concentrated on nutrition and the weight cut and doing it the right way. So, these are some rumors. I don't have any confirmation of that. I don't have any sources that are directly telling me that have access to inside information that I don't have. So, but he has missed weight twice in a row, and if he wants to be a serious contender in this division, he knows he absolutely 100% has to make weight this time. So maybe he will do it the right way. But even, it's something that you have to pay attention to. It's a great point, and I'm glad you say it. We really should wait to see how Alvarez looks on the scales, you guys, because that is going to be something we need to take into consideration for this fight. Nick Alexander saying if he misses again, UFC will make him go up. Yeah, absolutely they will, Nick. Blood Money saying, looks like he will be a stud at 172. Long and tall with healthier and thicker body frame. Yes, he wouldn't be nearly as depleted on fight day, and perhaps he could put even a little bit more muscle on that frame, be a little bit more explosive with those long-range attacks when he's throwing those kicks and those step-in knees that he's known for. Paul Brassfield saying, I think Alvarez is going to wind up walking him down, honestly. That's one thing. I've seen Alvarez is absolutely at his best on the feet when he is pressuring. When he's pressuring his opponent, he is throwing in combination. He's throwing hard. He throws right down the pipe with bad intentions, and he gets his opponent backing up and really covering up. It's bad optics when he marches down his opponent. However, what else I've seen, Paul, here is that Tsarukyan will allow his opponent to pressure him, but he does a very good job of moving laterally and not letting the opponent cut off the cage and corner him. So he does move quite a bit on the outside. But I think Alvarez might be big enough where if he does take that side step, like DC always says, instead of following him around the cage, that he can cut him off and maybe throw that left kick when what's his name is circling to his right to try to cut off that movement and keep him from circling that way. But it's going to be very interesting, man. And Scott says, keep betting Alvarez. I haven't been betting. I wish I had bet him last time against Moises. I had a bet on Moises, and boy, that was money flushed directly down the toilet, never to be seen again. Man, did I feel like an asshole for betting on Moises last time. So I might have to start betting Alvarez, Scott, because I haven't been doing it well enough recently. Although I did have him against Joe Duffy, because I know Joe Duffy had one foot out the door. A. Loomis saying, I hope everyone keeps betting Alvarez, because I'll be smashing that Arman line. He's going to be top 5 one day. Not saying he's a lock, but I like my odds. I'm as more and more money comes in on Alvarez, I'm getting very, very intrigued on Tsarukyan here. Hammer and Hog says Arman takes him down and holds him there for 15, and that is one thing that Arman is very good at. We got my guy MMA Fight Club in the room saying Arman Tsarukyan is conducting his camp at Khabarovsk MMA, which is located in Khabarovsk, Russia. It is very far east, same time zone as Japan. He is the only fighter listed at that gym. #suspect. Yeah, wow. Thank you for that information. And I will actually just put that here because I knew he wasn't at Tiger, but I also knew he wasn't doing his camp at ATT, which meant he was going to be at some place where I wouldn't know how to spell it or pronounce it. And damn it if I wasn't right about that. So KHABAROVSK MMA is where Arman Tsarukyan is training for this camp. And I heard that the reason for that is that he wasn't able to get a visa in time to get here and train here long enough for the fight. So thank you, MMA Fight Club, for that information. I'm probably going to be doing a balls deep breakdown sometime in the future with MMA Fight Club, so watch out for that. A. Loomis saying, that's what I see, and if it ends up standing, I still got power and speed. Yeah. Paul Brassfield saying he may not want to take it down, LOL. Yeah, that's true, man. Victor saying, sorry I'm late. Busy as hell at work. Victor, Good to see you in here, brother. Always good to have you around, my man. Jarno is saying my worst beat of the year happened on last event. I had a parlay with Dawkins and Pickett. Fight starts round 2. I was going to put that in a parlay, and it went to 459. Oh, my God. Jarno, my guy Z's MMA, if you ever watch his channel on YouTube, he sells coffee mugs, and he has a mug that he calls the PTSB mug, and it's the post-traumatic, or I'm PTBD, post-traumatic bet disorder mug, and you can put Dawkins Pickett fight starts round 2, and it'll have the ticket on there, and it'll say post-traumatic bet disorder. It is an absolutely brilliant coffee mug, and when you lose a bet like that, it's worth buying a mug to commemorate the situation. That's rough, dude. That's like the when I lost the fight doesn't go to decision bet for Benoit Saint Denis versus Elizeu Selesky dos Santos, and that dude Vyacheslav Kisiev didn't stop the fight and let Benoit Saint Denis just take permanent brain damage. That was, when you every once in a while you lose a bet and it's like, how the hell did I lose that bet? And that's one of them, my man. Post-traumatic bet disorder for my man Jarno Portilla, but we're going to come back. And I know you've been winning units anyway, so it's even better when you have a bad bet story like that. Like, you lose a bet with 1 second left in the round, but you still come out at the end of the tunnel up units on the week. It's a good thing. It's a great story, but you always do want to win them all, but that's just never how gambling works. We got Blood Money saying Arman has great wrestling, but his BJJ ain't the same level. Absolutely. I think Alvarez hurts him standing and hits him with a sub in the second. 8 inches of height and 5.5 inches of reach. Alvarez has power leg kicks. Yes, he does. Paul, damn, Journal, that sucks. Yeah, it does, man. We got my guy B in here saying, "Oi, just seeing this, so checking in before I'm checking out for the night. Arman Tsarukyan, that's pretty near a lock. Look what he did versus Islam." Yeah, man. Scott Brown saying, "How dry are you gonna look? Ghost of McGregor at 145? Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might. We're gonna have to see. That's one thing, Scott. We got to really take a look at how Joel looks on the scale, because he might really drain himself to make 156. Blood Money saying Alvarez really has the power, all striking. Seen in the Thiago Moises fight, the dude is dangerous everywhere. I never thought of Alvarez as a striker, and then I watched that Thiago Moises fight, and I mean, I was slack-jawed by how relentless he was, by how awesome he looked when he was pressuring Moises, how he was still pretty much keeping the distance even though he was walking him down. And then you'd see him throw that power right, and he'd bring his right foot with him, and then throw that power leg kick behind it. And it's like, damn, man, I didn't know Joel could strike like that. I really didn't. It really blew me away, and it took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting that. And had I been expecting that, there's no way I would have been lying like minus 200 on Thiago Moises that day. That was an ass shaving, and I was on the wrong side of it, my friends. All right, we've got Bout Better saying Alvarez was plus 280. Now he's plus 190. Yeah, for sure, man. And Blood Money saying by the time you hit the scales, all the value will be gone, though. Plus 240 4 days ago, plus 180 now. Yeah, absolutely. And then Ring a Ding Ding, my guy B with a Canadian donation, $1. We'll take it, my man. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate each and every one of you that watches, likes, subscribes, donates. It's great to have each and every one of you here, man. We got Bout Better saying I sprinkled the plus 260 line. Yeah, at plus 260, it's worth a sprinkle. Strickland's Burner saying you all will miss weight too, so that's a plus. Yeah, he might. You all might miss weight, that's for sure. F. Carrillo saying balls deep on Terrence McKinney, Fares Ziam, and Rodriguez Petrosian. Maybe I could do both of them on Wednesday, man. We might be able to pull that off. We'll see. I like the way you think, F. Carrillo. Everyone had Moises last time, yeah, including me, and I was crying in my beer. Smash the like and subscribe, folks. I agree 100% with F. Carrillo there. The Cuban assassin in the room, our fearless hero, Keith Peterson, was in action on Saturday. Yeah, dude. And I had the Miller-Mata fight doesn't go to decision. And man, he let Mata take a beating down there, and I thought that he was going to do it to me again because he did it to me in the it was the Santos Guida fight. He wouldn't stop that Santos Guida fight, so that God, I hated that. I lost money on that one. That one cost me, I believe, it was a 5.3 unit swing because I had 3.3 units on Santos, and my guy Keith Peterson, drunk as hell, did not stop that fight. And then, dude, you only have a level 1 hog rider. What the fuck, your buns, kid? I don't know what that means. Blood Money saying Alvarez is a savage, and you have to bet him at plus 240 against any lightweight in the world. Even money, I'm even taking Arman, but value is on Alvarez. Right. Great tip, MMA Fight Club. Yes, thank you for that. Terrence was an underdog. That's a good line, I feel like. Yes, I agree with you on that. I have to get that mug. Yeah, you do, dude. Check it out. Z's MMA, man. He sells those mugs, and that is one you need to get. Terrence McKinney never beat a good fighter in his life except for Vola, and he probably wouldn't have if had he not landed that KO so quick. Yeah, but boy, he blasted him quick, man. Ziam K1 kickboxing champ at 18 and not getting starched by wrestler with KO power McKinney. It's going to be a great fight for sure. Petrosian line is closing. That's another good dog. I agree with you, A. Loomis. Alejandro saying Joel is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, champion of Spain in grappling and striker. Yes, he is. I mean, the jiu-jitsu on that dude is absolutely legit. 16 career wins by submission. Joel Alvarez gets you in a web when you are on top of him, and he can work for several different submissions, and he's dangerous and finishes fights with every single one of them that he works. So, yes, absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Alejandro. Blood Money saying, yep, Carrillo was right. And then ring a ding ding. My guy Victor De Jesus checking in with the $5 donation. My man supporting the show, supporting the channel. As always, much love to you, Victor. Appreciate it. Strickland's burner with the fist. And we got Scott Brown saying, don't value bet against good fighters like Arman. Yeah. That's one of those things, man. And, dude, my guy Liam picks fights in the room. Who's your favorite uncle? Dude, if you haven't already subscribed to Liam's channel, that dude's getting close to 1,000, and he should probably be there. I'm thinking by sometime in March, he's going to have 1,000 subscribers to that awesome YouTube channel of his. Always check out Liam on Twitter, on YouTube. Guy does amazing work. One of the best cappers out there right now, and also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player and wrestler in his own right at a very high level. Always good to have you hanging out in here, Liam. And we got Fernberg MMA Entertainment saying, what up, Unc? It's good to have you in here, Fernberg. Much love to you. And Blood Money saying Weezy's live shows are the best, period. I really appreciate that, man. It means a lot. And Strickland saying, is this your channel? And if not, what is it, brother? No, this is my channel. Yeah, this is my channel, Uncle Weezy. No, I'm just saying Liam picks fights. You got to check out his channel. You got to check out MMA Fight Club. You got to check out my guys. Christ, who did I just see up there? Blood Money MMA Bets, dude. I mean, you guys all know DFS by the numbers. You know the people in here. We got Lawrence Michael saying let's go and saying Weezy the stat god. I appreciate that. And let's get into some more stats here, you guys, because we got to look. We got a 5-fight sample size for both of these guys. So let's look at the striking numbers here. Look at Arman Tsarukyan. Look at how defensively responsible he is. Only absorbing 1.4 significant strikes per minute. This guy uses his defense. He uses his wrestling in order to fight the fight that his opponent is most uncomfortable with. He's a very smart fighter, and he uses his wrestling. His wrestling is excellent. And we see how defensively responsible he is when he uses that wrestling. He lands 2.2 more significant strike attempts significant strikes per minute than he absorbs. He's landing at a 46.5% clip. He has one knockdown in 5 fights. He's never been knocked down, and he's just under 63% striking defense, you guys. Alvarez landing a little bit more per minute, a little less accurate, and he hasn't landed a knockdown yet in the UFC. But he does throw a lot more volume than his opponents thus far, and he does land about 0.6 more significant strikes per minute than he absorbs. Striking defense, not great at 53.39%. We did see Damir Ismagulov have a lot of success on the feet against him. Really kind of picked him apart from range. And after that fight, I kind of figured that Joel Alvarez was this fighter that was a grappler that had no ability to take down his opponents. And I said, well, what good is that going to be against Thiago Moises? I mean, Moises just won a striking-based decision over Alexander Hernandez. I mean, of course, Joel Alvarez isn't going to go out there and outstrike Thiago Moises. Wrong. So I was dead wrong on that, you guys. And here we are. Here we are with Joel Alvarez now being in the top 15 and getting a fight against a 25-year-old stud in Arman Tsarukyan here, a guy who is 4-1 in the UFC, and his only loss is to Islam Makhachev thus far, and who's looked pretty dominant in these wins. Only one finish, though. But, you know, this is a very interesting thing. I just want to talk about the pressure here first. I'm thinking that Joel Alvarez will be the one that's more likely to pressure on the feet. And in the past, Arman Tsarukyan has dealt well with pressure because he can shoot reactive double legs, and he's very good at getting them and timing them, getting in deep on your hips. And unless your hips are fantastic, he's going to get his hands locked behind them, and then he's going to dump you on your ass and then work on top. And he's done this to Davy Ramos, you guys. He's been in Davy Ramos's guard and survived quite well there. Now, Davy Ramos is not 6'3", and we have to really be very aware of the fact that there's a difference between a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion in a gi and a guy who's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, but who gets 16 professional wins by submission. There is a difference between gi grappling and MMA grappling. And Joel Alvarez's MMA grappling from his back is so dangerous. It's so aggressive. I don't know what the difference is going to be between the MMA grappling of somebody like Joel Alvarez and the other guys that Tsarukyan has beaten, who are obviously top-notch MMA grapplers. Islam Makhachev, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, Davy Ramos, Matt Frivola. He destroyed Christos Giagos, and we've seen Christos Giagos get Darce choke submissions in the UFC. So Tsarukyan has swum on the ground with some really top-notch guys. But are any of those guys 6'3"? Do any of those guys have 16 career wins by submission? No. This is a slightly different matchup here, you guys. But let's get into these grappling stats. The first and most important stat here, you guys. Arman Tsarukyan in 5 fights has attempted 41 takedowns. That's over 8 takedown attempts per fight. He's very comfortable when he's wrestling. He's very comfortable using that wrestling in order to take great strikers out of their game. He's very comfortable shooting first on other fighters that are more comfortable when they're wrestling first. He was initiating grappling exchanges against Makhachev and Aubin-Mercier and Davy Ramos. So I would say that Joel Alvarez is going to be the guy that's going to be a lot more comfortable in the striking exchanges. I think Arman Tsarukyan will be comfortable initiating the wrestling exchanges, and I think that he will be most comfortable when those wrestling exchanges are initiated on the fence, because you can't get triangled when your opponent's back or neck is on the fence. You can't get arm barred there. It's very hard. It's, you know, when your opponent's neck is trapped up against the fence, it really doesn't allow them to be able to get certain submissions, or at least finish them. Tsarukyan's going to have to be very careful how he wrestles here, because Alvarez, you know, you would think a guy that has 16 submission wins would have attempted 1 takedown in the UFC in 5 fights. 5 fucking fights, you guys, Joel Alvarez has had. He's never attempted a takedown. How odd is that? That was why I was so surprised when he outstruck Thiago Moises. That's why I was really doubting this guy, because I always just thought of him as a guy who waits for his opponent to make a mistake and take him down, and then he submits them from his back. And it just kept happening over and over and over again in this guy's career. And I was like, well, what happens if somebody like Demir Ismagulov already goes out there and shoots 0 takedowns in this guy? Will he be able to initiate the grappling exchanges? The answer is no. Joel Alvarez is not capable of initiating grappling exchanges when he's uncomfortable on the feet. All you have to do is watch the Demir Ismagulov fight. He did not shoot 1 takedown attempt in that fight. He was not comfortable. He was not throwing volume. He very rarely pressured Demir, and he just kind of got hypnotized. And despite the fact that he wasn't winning any of the minutes of that fight, and he barely even won 1 or 2 exchanges on the feet over 15 minutes, despite all of that, he never went to plan B and started grappling. So Alvarez is a guy who's, the way that he fights is very easy to sum up, you guys. Joel Alvarez throws big, powerful strikes from the orthodox stance, big head kicks, big body kicks, big leg kicks, straight punches down the pipe, sometimes in combination, but most of the time just one at a time. And he throws them to try to frustrate you and to try to get you to shoot a takedown on him. He gets you in his guard, and then he submits you. I don't know if there's a plan B for him. But I never expected to see plan A, where he just throws these kicks and nobody actually tries to take him down, and then that works, because I had never seen that happen in all the tape that I've watched on Joel Alvarez. The very first time, and this is in his 21st professional fight, the very first time that I ever saw him win striking exchanges for more than 15 seconds at a time was that fight. And, we've seen Moises up and down in the UFC when it comes to his striking. Remember the Michael Johnson fight? He went out there, he got his ass shaved in the first round, completely dominated in the striking exchanges. And then in round 2, he rolls for a heel hook and it's over in 10 seconds. But he got his ass whooped in the striking exchanges here. So I guess that last 5-minute tirade that I just went on, what I'm trying to say is, I don't want to overrate the striking of Joel Alvarez based on one performance, the Thiago Moises fight. Tsarukyan's striking, in my opinion, from watching all the tape on him, is getting better. But at 5'7" and at a gigantic reach disadvantage here, I can't tell you that he's going to be the one to win the striking exchanges here when this fight is on the feet, because I don't see Tsarukyan pressure enough. I think he'll need the pressure, being at such a huge reach disadvantage here. If he's not pressuring Alvarez, he's going to get chewed up on the feet, in my opinion. So he's going to have to really pressure Joel on the feet. Either pressure him and use his striking to set up the takedowns if he feels safe that he can get takedowns and stay out of that web and stay out of Joel's submissions off of his back. Or if he does want to just strike with him, he's going to really have to march him down. And if you watch the tape on Tsarukyan, he doesn't really do that. Both of these guys are at their best on the feet when they are pressuring, but they don't do it nearly enough. And it's because I don't think either one of them is entirely comfortable with their striking exchanges here. The grappling, obviously Joel Alvarez, if you want to take this guy down, you can. So the great thing for Tsarukyan in this fight is that if any point he just doesn't feel like he wants to stand with this guy, he can easily take him down. He can shoot the worst takedown attempt he's ever shot as a pro. It will be successful. And Joel Alvarez will fold like a lawn chair and wind up flat on his back from it. The question is, can Tsarukyan stay safe on top for long stretches with somebody that's as dangerous off of his back as Joel Alvarez? And that's up to you guys. I mean, I think he can. 34% takedown percentage is not great for Tsarukyan, but 3.38 takedowns per 15 minutes and 34% control time for, seeing as one of his 15-minute fights was against Islam Makhachev, and he got dominated there and controlled quite a bit of that fight, but still stopped a ton of takedowns in that fight. So, yeah, Tsarukyan will be able to stop takedowns if Joel Alvarez were to shoot for him, but Joel Alvarez will not be shooting for takedowns. And 13% control time against, 34% control time for, and we see Joel Alvarez will willingly give up minutes on the back because, like I say, he's a moment winner. He's not a minute winner, you guys. So he's easy to take down. He's easy to hold down, but he's not easy to dodge the submissions of. So let's see here, man. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, and Alejandro is saying something that when somebody told me this a while back, and I laughed at him. He says, Joe Alvarez is a pure striker. He only uses high-level jiu-jitsu due to the opponent's mistakes. And I laughed at somebody when they said that to me. And then it's actually true. He doesn't try to take his opponents down. He doesn't initiate grappling exchanges. He just wants to strike. And very rarely do you see people want to strike with him for extended periods of time. Now, the reason I think that this is a bad matchup for him is because Arman Tsarukyan is one of those guys who does prefer to be on the ground. This guy was initiating grappling exchanges with Islam Makhachev at the age of 21. He took that fight on short notice, went 3 rounds with him, stopped a ton of takedown attempts from Islam Makhachev, and absolutely was able to neutralize Islam in a lot of his attempts to dominate in the grappling exchanges here. So the worry for me with Alvarez and why I believe he came out as such a big underdog is if he does want to keep this fight standing, he can't. He simply can't. He can't stop a takedown, and he certainly can't stop an Arman Tsarukyan takedown. So I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it standing, but if he does and he pressures Arman, I think he's going to look really good on the feet. So I'm with you, Alejandro. If he makes weight, yes. Strickland saying, do you all boys think Islam deserves a title shot with a win versus Green, even though his best wins are Moises and Hooker on short notice? That's a good question, man. I'm going to probably break down this main event later on in the week, and I'll get more into that question because we're already 42 minutes into this breakdown. But that is an excellent question, and it's a very long answer. But I think it's a great question that needs to be addressed at a different time so that we can get this done for my guy F. Carrillo before he has to wake up at the crack of dawn. Nick saying Alvarez has elite striking and elite BJJ. The only type of fighters that can beat him is elite wrestlers. I believe Tsarukyan is an elite wrestler, very strong and never been subbed, and I agree with everything that you just said there. Alvarez has leveled the fuck up in the years since the Demir fight. Yes, he has. F. Carrillo with the $5 super sticker. Ring a ding ding. This guy is absolutely too generous. Carrillo, I really appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for supporting the channel once again, my man. It means a lot. Arman hasn't had any problems defending high-level submission artists. Yes, that's true, A. Loomis. Good points. Thank you. Alvarez had 3 injuries in his last camp against Moises. In this one, he has not had any problems. Joel, first assault by guillotine. That guillotine of his is nasty. F. Carrillo saying, I'm pumped for the ass shaving of the week candidate. There are some good ones on this card, my man. Scott Brown saying, Islam is the best win. Best win is Arman. Yeah, dude, isn't that something? Nick saying, yeah, that's the key, Weezy. Can Alvarez submit him off his back? Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing. The people who are saying that, well, you know, Mercier couldn't, Davy Ramos couldn't, Islam couldn't. You know, none of those guys are 6'3", and there are things that you can't practice. Like, you can't practice being tall. You know, like your coach, if you're on a basketball team and I'm out there and I'm the tallest guy in the team, I'm 6'2". He can't say, hey, look, I need you to be 7 foot for this practice so that you can, you know, practice so that our big guy can practice, you know, what it's like to try to post up a 7-footer. You know, I mean, I can't do that. And there's not a lot of guys that you can bring in that have high level jiu-jitsu that are 6'3", that are black belts, that are really good off their back, that aren't necessarily like 205 pounds, you know? So it's interesting, you know, sometimes you don't feel the power until you get in there with somebody. It's just different until you get in there with somebody. You can practice the wrestling over and over again, but it's just different when somebody like Khabib gets a hold of you, you know? It's different when, you know, certain guys, when Paul Craig, you know, when you're in Paul Craig's guard and he gets wrist control, you're going to be in fucking trouble, dude. I don't care who you are. That guy submits people from his guard. Joel Alvarez does the same damn thing. And he's almost the same height as Paul Craig, but he's at 155, and Paul Craig is submitting giants like Magomed Ankalaev at 205. So that's the difference here. That's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous about Tsarukyan here because I know Tsarukyan can win minutes with the wrestling. I know that Tsarukyan can stay safe in high-level submission artists guard, but is Joel Alvarez different from those guys because of the size that he brings? That's the question. I'm sticking with Arman in this one with over 8 takedowns. And yeah, and he can get those takedowns whenever he wants, you guys. Noah saying, seems like people forgot about Alvarez versus Demir. Yeah, Demir really did, make him look terrible. And Joel just wouldn't go in that fight. He just didn't have anything for him. Arman via anything he wants. Height isn't everything. No, it isn't. Nice teammate for sure. Nigel saying, what's up, Uncle Weezy? Let's get this bread. Your breakdowns helped me be 10-7 versus the bookies last week. I love hearing that, man. Let's keep cashing those bets, dude. Stacking those cash tickets like flapjacks here, baby. That's what we love. A Luma saying this is a stay away fight because there's so many possibilities. Can't be sure on anything. There is a lot of variance on this fight. 21 fucking nuts. Yeah. We agree, Noah. Brick saying Arman's getting his head knocked off. Wow, that would be something if he did, man. That would be the first guy. He's been knocked out once in his career, and it was prior to the UFC, and it was Alaskara, or no, it was definitely like one of those Muslim Russian names. What? No, Balik? Was that what I'm thinking of here? I must be thinking of Alvarez. Yeah, he lost via knockout to Alexander Balik, and there is no tape of that on the tape index, so I did not get to see that fight. That's the only guy that's beaten Tsarukyan inside the distance, and it was back in 2015. I see this fight being canceled, to be honest. Alvarez misses weight, and Arman's team says fuck him. Well, we'll see if he's on weight. Yeah, that's we got Arman. Will take him down easily every round and control him. Just has to survive the sub attempts. Yes, because if he doesn't like how it's going on the feet, he absolutely will be able to take him down. Daz File saying no guillotine subbing Arman. Yeah, he's going to have to practice defending against that. Alvarez versus Demir was the debut. Yes, it was. That was Alvarez's debut. Might be worth a half unit on Alvarez inside the distance. Yeah, if you're going to bet Alvarez, bet him inside the distance because that's how he wins. He's never won a fight via decision, and there's a reason for that. He's not a good minute winner. He doesn't stop takedowns. He'll give up minutes off his back, and he doesn't throw a ton of volume on the feet. So he needs to win moments, and he's won 19 fights in his career, you guys, and they're all finishes. You can buy some stilts. Yeah, but then, your footwork's going to be shit. How are you supposed to, against like a Tim Duncan type, who's out there like a ballerina with that beautiful footwork of his? I could be out there on stilts. I'm not going to be able to really, I can't defend on stilts. So yeah, but I see what you're saying, man. Blood Money saying Arman going to get that Moises treatment. Yeah, well, if he, boy, you'll get knocked the fuck out if he does. Alex saying press the like button. I appreciate that. There's 39 of you guys in here hanging out on a Monday night. I appreciate that. Moises isn't Arman. True. Arman's boxing is nothing like Isma. Yeah, Ismagulov is one of the best strikers in the UFC's lightweight division, you guys. He's fantastic. Arman will knock Alvarez to the ground. We all know that. But will he survive an Arman submission? That's the question, man. Yep, seen bigger upset, the value, though. Yep. Still going to get that same treatment. We'll see soon enough. Alvarez is lethal on his back. His sub win over Yakovlev was textbook. Alvarez was just landing nasty elbows from the bottom. Yak tried to adjust position to avoid the elbows, and he moved into an arm bar. Yeah, that's right, because he was in that guillotine for like a minute, and it was like, wow, I can't believe Yakovlev survived that guillotine. And then all of a sudden, as soon as he got his head out, Alvarez starts working from the bottom, those elbows, and bam, he locks up the arm, and it was just a matter of time. Yep. Alvarez is too comfy on his back. Arman going to hold him down when he gets him there. Well, that's the point. That's what he's going to definitely try and do. But yeah, you guys are killing it in the chat. Thank you for hanging out. Let's get back, though, to these strength of schedule stats. And we will see a 2.23 ratio for Tsarukyan and a 1.25 for Alvarez. More fights for Tsarukyan. So Tsarukyan is fighting and beating the better competition here, you guys. And he's lost, obviously. Both of these guys are losing to studs. Alvarez loses to Damir Ismagulov, who's undefeated, and Tsarukyan loses to the 10-1 Islam Makhachev. But strength of schedule, you guys, according to my metric, is in favor of Tsarukyan here. And we see these names on the list here: Makhachev, Alban Mercier, Davy Ramos, Frivola, and Yagos. While for Alvarez, it's Moises, Yakovlev, Duffy, Belluardo, and Ismagulov. This is such a great fight, you guys. Let's take a look at the odds here. As we've got Arman Tsarukyan right now. Let me refresh this page and go all the way to the bottom. For those of you who aren't seeing the odds for the Tsarukyan-Alvarez fight on Best Fight Odds, it's all the way at the bottom under future events here. I don't know why they have it. They don't have it with the current card, but they don't. But Arman Tsarukyan right now is minus 220, and the best that you can get Joel Alvarez is about plus 185. We've got the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 150. Fight goes to decision at plus 110. I think the fight goes at plus money is actually kind of interesting, you guys, because neither one of these guys has been finished at the UFC level. And we do have a good favorite here, 66-60 to between 66 to 70% implied probability to win in Tsarukyan. He's only finished one of his 5 UFC wins. And Joel Alvarez hasn't been finished, I believe, since his 3rd or 4th professional fight. It was way back in the day, and it was a quick shot. He got caught. So I kind of like the fight goes on this one, although I don't think I'll be running to the window to bet it. Alvarez is very live to win inside the distance, and Tsarukyan has quite a bit of power on the feet and some really savage ground and pound as well. So if he can pass Alvarez's guard and get into side control or half guard, I think he can have a lot of success on top. Just winning minutes there, staying safe, and potentially, landing some really good ground and pound and potentially getting him out of there. But yeah, I do think that this fight does see the scorecards. I do think that Tsarukyan's path to victory, you guys, is really through the wrestling. I think that he's going to be at a length disadvantage on the feet and probably going to be getting pressured by Alvarez. Alvarez's striking looked fantastic against Moises. So I think that a lot of people might be overvaluing Alvarez's striking and not realizing that the guy couldn't stop a takedown to save his life. And if Tsarukyan wants to win minutes on the ground, he can, if he can just stay safe from the submissions. And because he's so good at getting takedowns, perhaps he can get them without falling right into Alvarez's guard, where Alvarez will be at his most dangerous off of his back. The line that I think I'm going to be betting here is Tsarukyan by decision at plus money. At plus 180, I've only got to put down a little over a half unit to win 1 unit here, instead of having to put down 2.1 units to win 1. I don't see Tsarukyan finishing Alvarez if he fights the kind of game plan that I think will keep him the most safe and make Joel Alvarez the least dangerous here, you guys. So my pick for this one is going to be Arman Tsarukyan by decision here. I think Joel Alvarez might be counting on a knockout or a submission. And to finish a guy like Tsarukyan, when guys like Islam Makhachev, Davy Ramos, Olivier Aubin Mercier couldn't, I don't think that Joel Alvarez is going to be up to that task. The pick, you guys, Arman Tsarukyan by decision. Let's see what you guys are up to here in the chat. Minus 165, still too juiced, says Loomis. We got John saying Blood Money, my man. We got MMA Fight Club. Appreciate you, bro. Loomis, right. I was trying to be nice to the Arman fans. John Kane saying I have Arman to complete a multi, but my hedge will be on Alvarez will be more profitable. Yeah. Can't go wrong there, John. F. Carrillo saying the yawning has begun and time to call it a night. Good night, fam, and thanks a million, Onk. Looking for them balls deep sessions on the T-Rex fight and the G-Rod fight for sure. I'm still believing for an Uncle Weezy T-shirt. Yeah, I got to get a logo, man. I've got somebody that's got to draw something for me. I'm going to work on a couple of things and see what we can come up with, man, for sure. I appreciate all your support, all your watching, all the thumbs up, all the donations, F. Carrillo. It means a lot, man. Sleep well, get up early, and have a great day at work tomorrow, brother. A. Luma's saying, I like Arman, but right around minus 140. The fight's closer than that. Alvarez screams trap, in my opinion. I hear you, man. Yeah, it's a trap. Bookie's cleaning up. Arman by decision, maybe even KO. Yeah, later Carrillo for sure. Nick saying Tsarukyan by unanimous decision. That's my thought too. Yeah, job bless to you too, man. I'm with Nick. Yep. I'm with Nick too. Alvarez is less known, and Arman became very famous for his fight with Islam. That influences the bets. Yes, sir. Blood Money saying, who is Arman beat to make you guys feel this comfortable? If you're basing it off the fact he lost a close grappling match to Islam, can't be it. Yeah, it is. For me, that is it. Because, you know, the way that Islam Makhachev is going through guys like Dan Hooker in the first fucking round, destroying him. 3 submissions in his last 3 fights. He's really turning it up. It is the fact that this guy came in on short notice at the age of 21 and gave Islam Makhachev a competitive fight. I mean, if Makhachev was fighting Joel Alvarez, he would be minus 700, just like he is against Bobby Green. I hate to tell you guys that. The people who are saying that there's, value on Alvarez at plus 500, you'd be flushing that ticket down the toilet because, Islam would ride that dude and probably ground and pound him to a knockout. I mean, so yeah, it is that fight. And then it's the Olivier Aubin-Mercier fight. And then after that, it's the Davy Ramos fight. These are some of the best grapplers that division had back then. And this kid was swimming with them when he was 21, 22, 23. This kid's special. And his striking is getting better. And his cardio hasn't really abandoned him yet in the UFC. And that wrestling allows any fighter that uses it well to be able to choose where the fight takes place. And if you have a good fight mind that values defense, and this guy is only absorbing 1.4 significant strikes per minute as Tsarukyan, you can put together fight plans that will make your opponent very uncomfortable. And he's very good at doing that. He's very good at winning minutes. And that's the fight that makes me think that he can beat this dude. Nick saying, I really, really like Alvarez as a fighter, but this is a bad matchup for him. Yeah, Tsarukyan's a bad matchup for about 95% of the lightweight division right now. Got to be honest. Alvarez smoking Moises should scare you off, Arman. Yeah, look, Michael Johnson absolutely destroyed Thiago Moises on the feet. Michael Johnson's 11-13 in the UFC. Noah Allen, what the fuck you talking about? Arman versus Islam made him famous. Dude, you're making stuff up. No, it did make him famous. Alvarez takedown defense is almost non-existent. No, it is non-existent. Facing a good grappler and Alvarez reach on the feet make me think Arman will not playing the striking game. Yeah, I don't think he will either. I have to stop chasing for bad inside the distance lines, like Parker Porter plus 100, and he just can't finish the fight. Yeah, I was right there with you on that one, Journal. That was my biggest losing bet of the night. When he got in the mount there with 2 minutes left in the third, I thought he might be able to pull it off. But, Badeau's takedown defense held up, and Porter really emptied the gas tank trying to get him to the ground unsuccessfully, and that's why he wasn't able to finish late. I really think that if Badeau's takedown defense didn't hold up in the second and he was carrying Parker's weight for that whole second round, in the third round, Parker would have finished him with ground and pound. But it held up and it made it. And I said on Best Bet that if Alan Badeau got a third round finish, that I would dye my hair Phil Hawes blonde. I was that confident that he was going to have one round of gas and then just be gone. And in the third round, Badeau's throwing these uppercuts, and I couldn't even watch, dude. I was scared shitless. If I had to dye my hair blonde, I would have cried like it would have been ugly, you guys. Blood Money saying, I won't be shocked, though, if he does win boring decision. But Arman bettors will be sweating the whole fight, though. They will, because he's dangerous. Joel's very dangerous. Moises had a decent fight with Islam. Alvarez smoked him. Yeah, that's true. I can't back Arman. Yeah, but Moises, was hanging around on the ground with Islam. It was Joel who just smoked Thiago on the feet which is something that Islam doesn't really do. He doesn't really smoke dudes on the feet. He uses his wrestling and his grappling and his ground and pound and his submissions in order to beat guys. Matthew Buchanan saying, I can't back Arman. That's all right, man. This is why this is such a great fight. I see that there's definitely some strong opinions in here, and that's great. That's what great fights are. And this fight has got a lot of options that make it look like, all right, there's a lot of different ways that this could go. Alvarez could get a knockout. Alvarez could get a submission off his back. He could pressure the shit out of Tsarukyan. Tsarukyan could land big shots because he's so muscular. Tsarukyan could pressure the longer Alvarez and win striking exchanges if he does to Alvarez what John Makdessi did to Ignacio Bahamondes in his debut. Just walk him down. Don't let him use that. Don't let him use that length. Don't let him plant his feet. Don't let him throw those kicks. So that could happen. He could use that wrestling, take it down to the ground. He could get a submission. He could get a ground and pound victory. This is one of those fights. I think it's very difficult to be very confident one way or the other. Now, why I'm going with Tsarukyan by decision is because I think he's going to have to use the wrestling and win minutes on the ground, and that I think in order to stay safe, he's going to have to kind of play it really safe, and he's not going to be able to try to finish this fight. That's why I'm thinking at plus 180, I could put down only 1 unit, and I can have 1.8 units coming back my way if Tsarukyan, who's a 66 to 70% favorite according to the bookies to win this fight, wins it by decision using the game plan that I think he's going to use. You guys absolutely killed it in the chat. Yeah, this always makes it more interesting. Disagreements, absolutely. Yeah, you guys absolutely killed it in the chat here, and we'd be here for another 10 minutes if I read all the comments. But you guys, I have to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out with me on a Monday night. We got a ton of donations in here. We had over 40 live viewers at one point, all on a Monday night, just talking about one fight for 1 hour. I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for spending this evening with me. God bless each and every one of you guys for liking the videos, for subscribing to the channel, for donating to the channel, and for just watching and hanging out. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 49, you guys. I will be back tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Central Time, to break down all 12 fights on this card from a statistical standpoint. And as always, we will finish with Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, giving you the most dominant victory. I'd like to thank Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast for making that awesome 1-800-GAMBLERS orderlies meme with me and Brady in it. That was awesome. Got to see that on his show today on Pub Sports Radio. If you haven't checked out the Die Hard MMA podcast, check that out as well. You guys, I'm going to hang it up for the night, but I will be back here tomorrow, and I might even sneak in another Balls Deep breakdown because my man F. Carrillo asked me to do so, and maybe we'll talk about that for SIM Terrence McKinney fight, which is so interesting. You guys, I'm going to hang it up for the night, though. God bless each and every one of you, and I'll see you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Central Time, for Just a Tip. Good night.